Welcome to Valerie's R.E.A.L Talk podcast. My name is Valerie Smith, and I'm your host. Today is episode 19, and I'm going to speak to you about your creative thought process that's within you. As we know that we are in an age of technological advances such as artificial intelligence and other means of technology that we can use to be creative. We allow these devices to take some of our creativity, because I have listened to many people who will say artificial intelligence created my book. But however, am I knocking artificial intelligence? No. When I think of artificial intelligence, I think of it as a technology tool where I can do research. But however, I feel that some individuals will use it for the advantage of creating product and services. And I want to speak to you mainly, not just on artificial intelligence, but I want to talk on human creativity intelligence. Because to me, we all have this creativity on the inside. We all have gifts, and whatever those gifts are, you have to look within. I believe that sometimes we don't know what our gifts are, our creative gifts are, because we don't take the time to sit in silence and just journal who you are. What is that one thing that you're good at? It's creative and everybody loves it. Just think about it. And maybe it's been a long time since you tapped into it because you've been bogged down with work. You've been bogged down with all the new things that are happening, like uncertainty. There's wars that's going on. There's a whole lot of things. It could be family that is sick, and your time has just been taken over. But you just haven't had enough time just for yourself. And that is why we want to look at your own creative thought process. We all have this right brain, even though some people think they're more logic, which is the left brain. But somewhere in between all that logic, in between, we have this creative thought process and how we solve problems, how we're very creative visually. And I just want you just to think about it, about what is it that makes you great in what you do. You could be a speaker, a storyteller. You could be an actress. You just know how to bring the sound out when you're speaking. It's a lot of things that we have that we haven't tapped into. And I really want you to think about it. I was having this conversation with my sister, Sandra Smith. Again, I know I have mentioned her before. And she was saying there is a need for music teachers. Because you know why? There's nothing like the connection of human and music and that creativity that goes together. It's an energy field. It's something about music that makes you come alive. And for children and young adults, you need that music on the inside just to bring out the best on the outside. I am a flute player. I play the flute. And I remember hearing the flute when I was 5 years old. I saw James Galway. He was on Sesame Street, had all this big hair. And when I heard him, my hands were on the television. Hearing this beautiful flute music on Sesame Street, I thought it was just amazing. Now, did I think I was going to be playing the flute when I got older? No. But something happened in grade school. We always called the big kids from high school the big kids. And they would bring in their instruments to introduce to us. And I was in second grade, and I was excited. I was in band, and they bring in these big kids over to play the instruments for us. I heard the flute, and I heard the soprano sax. I thought the soprano sax was awesome because it looked like the clarinet. I was in between those two. But I knew in my heart it was the flute. I really did, because it's something that's being introduced to you, and it strikes a chord. And that's what the creative process is. It's something that strikes a chord with you. You're creative. You can do this thing with your eyes closed. Even if you have to be trained in it, it's something that is grabbing to you on the inside, and you know that you were made to do this. It doesn't matter if artificial intelligence is here for 20 years. Everyone has a gift. Everyone has this creative thought process on the inside that needs to come out. I don't care if it's painting, music, spoken word, author, you name it. You have it. But don't allow technological advances to take it from you. We are human intelligence, people. There is no way that we have a new technology that's going to erase all of that away. You hear a lot about layoffs that are happening, but however, we should not be bothered because life happens. And I always tell people who have been laid off, it's not your fault. Now this is an opportunity for you to regroup, to reflect, find out what your strengths are. What are those creative things that you do so well that you're known for? And you reach within, and you work on it, and you work on it, and you express it out to the world. That's what it means to be creative, to have that thought process, to bring it out in its fruition. I love creativity. And I never want to see a human being feel that they don't matter. You do matter. You came here on earth, not just to work, but to have a purpose. And that's your creative self. And that's why we want to be in tune with our creative self. So I'm going to give you some homework. And since we are in a time of uncertainty and a lot of chaos, a lot of clutter, it's time to clear that clutter. I want you to bring out your journal, bring out that notepad, and I want you to sit in complete silence. And I want you to start writing who you are, what you're known for, what is that creative thing that you love so much and that you have not tapped in a long time. And it sparks your curiosity and your ambition. Just think about it. Because we have to go back to that. Since technological advances are here, and we feel that humans are not needed in certain places, then we need to tap into what we call our human intelligence, our creativeness, our creative thought process. You will never lose that. That is something that you can never lose because it has feeling, it has action, and anything that deals with creativity needs that human element. Don't allow artificial intelligence to take your creativity away from you. Don't do it. It's the beautiful thing about being creative. I want you to think about Michelangelo, Mozart. I want you to think about the great Duke Ellington. I want you to think about, I think his name is George Schulte. He was one of the greatest conductors of the Chicago Symphony. You know what they all got in common? Is creativeness, expressiveness, authenticity from the inside out, because it's their love for their art. And that is something that we cannot lose to technology. Because if we have people who can paint, who can write music, who could be that author, this is what we need, is products where you are creative, that you can lead to humanity to say your name, that this is your art that came from you. That's why it's important to never lose your creative thought process. Because guess what? At the end, you matter because you are creative. I want to say thank you for joining me today for Valerie's Real Talk podcast. And my name is Valerie Smith, and I look forward to seeing you next week for episode 20.